Fun segment here during NBA All-Star Weekend. We are going to look at some Miami Heat NBA draft targets with the Golden State Warriors pick. Obviously, one of the headlining assets Miami got in return for the Jimmy Butler trade. It is a top 10 protected 2025 first-round pick, and as we currently are filming and stand, the Warriors would have the 13th pick in the lottery, so technically it could jump inside the top 10, but assuming they don't get good lottery luck, it would be 13th overall. Right now, for Miami as well, their pick sits at 15th. It goes to the Thunder if they make the postseason, but it is very possible that the Heat miss the playoffs or at least lose in the play-in and are picking in the late lottery and they keep their own pick. So either way, there's a decent-sized chance Miami's picking late lottery where we're going to look at some draft targets. But it is All-Star Saturday night in the NBA. Tyler Hero is in the All-Star game, but also participating in the three-point contest. If you want Tyler to show out for Miami in the bright lights on Saturday night, hit that thumbs-up icon. Let's get Tyler Hero a three-point contest win. All right, as we look towards some NBA draft prospects, I think it's important to also discuss what the biggest needs for the Miami Heat roster currently is. Other than the fact that they just lack talent and experience in offensive creation, a true point guard is the number one thing that Miami needs, in my opinion. We've seen how Davion Mitchell has helped a little bit, but they need a true offensive-minded point guard that can be a two-way guy as well. I also think a dominant wing, a la Jimmy Butler, would help Miami become a much more competitive team, but you also just need more shot creators and makers on your ball club. So outside of positions, you need guys that can score and force other people to defend you so you can get more open looks for your teammates. And the first target that we're going to talk about today is a combination of a guard that creates, but also a true point guard. Jeremiah Fears, the guard from Oklahoma, and if you follow me on Twitter, which you should, you would have known that I have been already eyeing Fears in the late lottery, early outside the lottery, because I've already labeled him as a prospect I'm looking at. This is someone who has risen up boards very, very quickly. He was not a projected NBA prospect coming into this year. He's a young 18-year-old true freshman, but he has been great for the Oklahoma Sooners, averaging 15 a game. His usage rate is astronomically high. And yeah, his three-point shot has struggled a little bit this season. He is very good at getting to his spots in the paint, in the mid-range, able to rise up and finish over opposing defenders. He's a 6'3" guard. His wingspan isn't anything crazy. A little bit light in frame. We'll need to add some weight, but not crazy bad or anything like that. But how about some of these advanced stats here? His usage percentage is fourth highest in the SEC as a true freshman at almost 31%. He creates for others. You see his assist percentage, his points produced. He has decent in the passing lanes as well, with a 3.5% steal percentage. The one issue that he has had is because of his usage rate being so high and his lack of experience, a true freshman, 18 years old, he does turn the ball over a lot. 87, it's the most in the SEC this year. But the SEC is also the best conference in college basketball, and maybe this year's SEC is one of the best of all time, to where it is a tough night in, night out competition. But there's one more statistic that I wanted to showcase for other Heat fans. His free throw percentage, because he does get to the line at a pretty solid margin, and he shoots 84.2%. The reason why I want to showcase this number is because some of you may have been turned off by the three-point percentage being 25.2%, and I understand that. But I truly believe that free throw shooting at the college level is more of an indictment on what he can become as a three-point shooter in the NBA. Listen, when you're in college basketball, the spacing is a little bit different. Yeah, it's a shorter three-point shot, but there's less spacing, and you're not getting as many open looks from beyond the arc because of there being a packed-in defense that doesn't respect a lot of three-point shooters out there. But his free throw shooting numbers being so good tells me that there is a lot of room for improvement for his three-point shot. So Fears is someone that I really, really like. But here's one of the more important questions surrounding the draft is how many picks will Miami be making in the first round this year? I have it set at 1 or 2. I guess there's a world where Miami doesn't pick at all and they make the playoffs and Golden State finishes inside the top 10, but I think it will likely be either 1 or 2. How many picks will they have? Let me know. Moving on to the next prospect here, Liam McNeeley, the guard/forward for the UConn Huskies. This is an intriguing guy, 5-star recruit out of high school. being that top guy that Dan Hurley and UConn recruited, and he is not disappointed. He did miss about 4 or 5 weeks due to an ankle injury, but he just returned this past week and had a 38-point performance on the road versus Creighton. Absolutely exploded, and it did balloon some of his averages up a little bit, but he is someone who can do it all. He can score on the outside. He can score on the inside. He's got good size to him, which allows him to rebound, natural guard abilities as well. Wouldn't label him as someone who could handle the rock consistently as a point guard, but he does have a good playmaking feel, knows how to make the extra pass, needs to improve his finishing around the rim, but he can flat out shoot the basketball. He averages 5 3-point attempts a night in college, which is a relatively high number, and he's shooting 38% when you round up. But the size is where I really like McNeeley because he's got great connectivity to him. I think you could label him as a 2 guard in the NBA. Now, he might struggle to guard some of these athletic 2s due to his lack of lateral quickness, but he does have the ability to guard 3s as well because of him being 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. He's got some good size to him at 210 pounds. As a true freshman, he'll be able to build on that. Once he gets to the NBA strength training program, he'll be able to put on more weight, so he's not getting pushed around at the next level. He just simply does everything well. He can pass, he can defend, he can shoot, he can do everything you can ask. And he impacts winning at a very high level. Not to blow up UConn basketball too much here, but you know that in order to get rotation minutes for Dan Hurley and the Huskies, you can't just be so good at one thing. You need to be an all-around basketball player. It's why we saw Adama Sanogo improve, Stephon Castle, Tristan Newton, Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson Jr. The list goes on and on here. I think Liam McNeely's another one. I think he ultimately goes inside the top 12 picks of the NBA draft when it's all said and done. So maybe Miami is picking there at 11. I don't know, but we'll see. He could be off the board. How about this, folks? We are in the middle of the NBA season during All-Star Weekend, and we are doing NBA draft coverage for the Miami Heat. That should only tell you where things will go when we actually end the regular season and postseason. Join the channel today for coverage on the Miami Heat 365. Draft, trades, free agency, in season. Doesn't matter. Hit that sub button. Intriguing prospect coming in at my number 3 target as of right now, Nolan Traore, the guard from France. And this is a very intriguing player. He was a projected top 7, top 8 pick coming into this college basketball season, but due to some struggles that he has held in the pro leagues over in France, plus some inconsistency, he is fallen down boards a little bit, but this was once a guy viewed as a top 5 talent in this draft class. He has got a high usage rate this season, which has kind of been stunning because he was not expected to have that usage rate. The exact number is a 30% rate in France, and he's got a lot of talent with the ball in his hands, but he struggled to be efficient in terms of scoring the basketball, struggled to make some shots from the perimeter as well. But when you look at his raw ability to play make and create for others and his first step and his handle, there is a lot to like for Nolan Traore, and we're going to continue to talk about him in just a second. But we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform in North America. I play Prize Picks on a daily basis. All you do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. All-Star Weekend is tonight and tomorrow, and Prize Picks the best place to win cash while watching your favorite players play during the game and Saturday night events like that 3-point contest. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out of your lineup. If it isn't perfect, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And take advantage of the weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. You can play daily, you can play season long, you can do it all. And with baseball season just around the corner, I've got a season long 3-player entry, more than Paul Skeens pitcher strikeouts, more than Tarek Skubal pitcher strikeouts, and then more than Jarren Duran home runs. Just another example of how you can play and combine different sports leagues. So join me and the millions of others playing Prize Picks daily. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the app today, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. As we get back to talking about Traore as a prospect here, he's got good size to him. 6'4", 184, so like Fears, will need to add some weight at the next level, but already has a solid infrastructure. The intriguing part is his wingspan, a little bit better than Fears, +2, 6'6". That is not official. That is the last reported wingspan that has been told to the public. It's been a couple of years or so. But another thing I really like, and I talked about his playmaking, averaging 5.2 assists per game in the LNB Pro A League. It's actually 6th highest of assists per game. This is still a very young prospect, shoots 48.8% in terms of his true shooting percentage. Listen, I don't know if the Heat would be interested in taking a young project type point guard, but with the new build of this Heat team, prioritizing the future and the 25, 24, 23-year-olds they have on this roster, I think it may be beneficial to take a swing on a European prospect like Traore if he's there when Miami's selecting in the late lottery or just post-lottery that can ultimately develop. Because if you hit and he ultimately becomes someone that can hit outside shots, create for himself, you're talking about a point guard that could be an offensive juggernaut with pretty good size and quickness to him. It's a very intriguing name to monitor throughout this entire draft process. Another forward here, like Liam McNeeley, we're going Rasheer Fleming, the forward from St. Joe's. This is someone that is starting to grow on me more and more as I look at some NBA prospects. His numbers and his raw measurables are flat out ridiculous. For St. Joe's in the A10, he's putting up 15 points a game, 9 boards, while shooting an incredible efficient 42% from 3 and 55% from the field. But the reason why I have become very high on Fleming is when you watch him play, he just sticks out on the film. His athleticism, his length, his disruptiveness is second to almost none in this class. When you're talking about just pure athletes in terms of their size, quickness, and leaping ability, it goes VJ Edgecombe, Cooper Flagg, Kaman Malawach, and that's about it until you get to Fleming here. 6'9" with a ridiculous 7'5" wingspan. And he's built too at 220 pounds. This guy is absolutely ridiculous when you look at him. And when he gets to the NBA draft combine, goes through meetings, goes through drills, goes through all of the measurements, he is going to be someone that NBA GMs and front offices start licking their chops at. And not only is he an elite scorer at the college level, but he is so disruptive due to that 7'5" wingspan. Averages 3.1 stocks per game. 1.6 steals per game, 1.5 blocks per game. He can guard 2 through 4, maybe can guard 5, 2 in the NBA, depending on the centers. Wouldn't say all of them, but some of them he could switch on in a quick possession or so. Fleming is a very versatile guy, and when you watch his film, which I would recommend looking up his film on YouTube after you watch this video, his jump shot reminds me so much of Michael Porter Jr. The lift, the wingspan just elevates over the top of you. He does not care if you are right in his face. He just says, yeah, I'm just too lengthy. You won't be able to block my shot. I don't even see you there. I am very intrigued. The only downside on Fleming, and the reason why he's not a top 10 pick right now, he's a third-year guy. He's taking that leap this year, so you wonder why he's now just taking this leap. But he also really struggles to put the ball on the deck. But if he's able to develop any type of ball handling or develop any type of creation for himself rather than just catch and shoots and cutting and rebounding offensively, this is a dangerous, dangerous prospect. I really like Fleming as a potential connecting wing for Miami. The last player we're going to talk about today is Egor Demin, the point guard from BYU. And I will admit, he's unlikely going to be there in the mid-lottery or I should say late lottery or mid-first round. This is someone that I believe is truly going to go in the top 10. His numbers wouldn't suggest that he goes in the top 10 because he's really struggling with his shot at BYU. But the raw ability that he possesses is at the top of this class. I truly believe that. He's turning the ball over at a 25% rate, which isn't great, and you see how much he's struggling from the field in the three-point land. But this is someone who is a true guard. Like, I'm being serious. This guy is a true point guard at 6'9" with a 6'11" reported wingspan. Been a couple years since it's official. We'll know at the combine, but right now it's 6'11". He's lengthy. He's got a little bit of a frail frame. As I mentioned, all those other guards we talked about were 182 pounds at 6'4", 6'3". He's 190 at 6'9", so he clearly needs to add weight. But this is someone who is athletic enough and quick enough to play point guard in the NBA. He has the height and the vision to just see over the top of the defense and make the right decisions with the ball in his hands. Yeah, he's turned the ball over a little bit, but once he gets used to the physicality of the NBA and he's getting better in the Big 12 play as well, this would be someone that's an absolute pipe dream. This is a prospect that I believe Miami would get lucky for him to fall into their laps in the late lottery, or they would have to trade up to get. I think he goes top 10 in the NBA draft without a question. You just simply do not find players like Demin who has the playmaking, the IQ, the vision at his size at the guard spot. And with the NBA continuing to grow in terms of its positional versatility with size and lengthy guards, Demin fits that mold to a T. He is the best passer in this class, and he's ambidextrous a little bit too. You watch his film, he shoots the ball right-handed, but he's arguably a better finisher with his left hand inside the paint. Very fascinating prospect. I really like him. He'll be off the board before Miami picks, but I did want to mention him because there is a chance that people are mocking him anywhere between 9 and 12 right now, so maybe Miami could get into his range, but I don't ultimately think so when we talk about this late in June. All right, we talked about 5 draft prospects for the Miami Heat. I want to know who has your eye. Which of these 5 names was your personal favorite? Let me know down in the comment section which one you would rather have. Be honest, I'm going to take a cop-out answer here. I wouldn't complain with any of these guys. I know it's very early in the process, and we'll see who ultimately goes back to school, who doesn't, who rises up boards, who falls. But as Miami's projected the pick anywhere between 12 to 16 potentially with that Warriors pick, if any of these 5 names were the name called on draft night in the first round for Miami, assuming the Heat kept the pick, I would be pretty happy. Fleming is that 3-and-D upside wing that could fit in the system right away and get into the developmental system of the coaching staff. You've got the 2 guards in Traore and Fears that are very intriguing. You've got the demigod guard that can just pass the lights out of the ball and Demin. And you also got the do-it-all wing and guard combo of Liam McNeeley. I don't think you could go wrong. I really don't think you could. I mean, this is why you subscribe to the channel, because we're still going to have you covered with content all All-Star break long. And when the Heat return, we'll be live for NBA watch parties once again. So hit that sub button for the top coverage of the Miami Heat on YouTube.